Hello, everyone, and welcome to another movie review. I am happy that you can join me today. If you are new to this channel, welcome. Click the subscribe button below for future notifications and updates. Click the like button and share this content with other movie fans. So I saw this movie last night and it made me angry. So I needed to go to bed after I came home and wake up this morning feeling refreshed so that I can write this review with a clear head. This is a long review, so I am going to keep it as tight as possible. So there are three parts to this review. One, a brief synopsis. Two, the technical quality of the film. And three, I'm going to open up a conversation about the story. So let's get to it. The Killers of the Flower Moon is a Western crime drama directed and produced by Martin Scorsese. It is based on the book of the same name, written by David Gran, and it stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, and Lily Gladstone. I thought that Scorsese and De Niro made 8 films together, but when I did an online research, this film makes the 10th film they have done together. What I didn't know prior to this film is they have been friends since high school, over 60 years ago, which to me is a beautiful thing. It was first released at the Cannes Film Festival back in May, where it received an Oscar buzz. It was theatrically released this past Friday, October 20th, and the running time is exactly 3 hours 26 minutes. The film stays true to the book. One of the Native American nations, the Osage, were forced by the U.S. government to move from Kansas to Oklahoma, Indian Territory, in the 19th century. By the beginning of the 20th century, oil was found on their land, making them one of the wealthiest group of people in the world. The wealth was passed down through Osage head rights, but when oil was found, it attracted white folks into the reservation. Many white folks participated in a plot to steal their wealth through 3 ways: either becoming guardians of wealthy Osage, marrying into Osage families, and or murdering them one by one. DiCaprio plays Ernest Burkhart, a man who served in the military as a cook during World War I, and he moves to Oklahoma to live with his uncle, King Bill Hale, played by De Niro. His uncle gets him a job as a taxi driver, and he meets a wealthy Osage woman, Molly Kyle, played by newcomer Lily Gladstone. Over the course of the film, Molly's family dies, and what Molly does not know is that her husband, Uncle Bill, and a network of white folks, including the town doctor, are part of a big scheme to steal wealth from the Osage. This plan also includes killing white private detectives Molly hired to solve these murder mysteries. Molly then decides to take a trip to D.C. and asks the federal government for help in solving these crimes. And in comes Agent Tom White, played by Jesse Plemons. But he's smart. He doesn't come by himself. He comes with a team. And the first person they are trying to interrogate is Molly, because she is the reason why they are there. But she is sick in bed. Sick in bed. Okay? However, Tom White and his team go about solving the case, and the case ends up in court. So this leads to the second part of this review, the technical quality of this film. I am going to give this film 5 out of 5 stars. I don't remember the last time I gave a movie a perfect score, but the reason why it deserves 5 stars, this is textbook filmmaking right here. If you are a film student and you want to make movies, This is one of the films to watch. Ever since this film was shown at Cannes back in May, there has been a lot of talk, making this film one of the most anticipated films of the year. So for me, this film exceeded expectations. I think this film is going to get nominated for a number of Oscars. I think the last time I made Oscar predictions was for the film Chevalier back in April, and I am making predictions again for this film. So I think it will be nominated for Best Picture of the Year. Scorsese might get nominated again. Whether he wins or not, I am not sure. I was sure when he got nominated for The Departed, but this time I am not sure. Um, I think DiCaprio will get nominated for Best Lead Actor, but I don't know if De Niro will get nominated for Best Lead or Best Supporting. If he gets the nod for either one, I will understand why. Then there is Lily Gladstone. Because she is an unknown actor, prior to this film, the Academy might give her a nomination for Best Supporting Actress, but I think she deserves Best Lead Actress. Also, I think this film might get a nod for Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Sound, Cinematography, and Editing. Thelma Schoonmaker has edited every film Scorsese has made, and I think she will get a nomination this time. People have been complaining about the running time, but Scorsese had enough of a story to make it a 4 hour film. And I have to remind you, Gone with the Wind and The Ten Commandments, two of the most popular American films, each clock in at 4 hours. Okay, so let's move on to the third part of this review, starting a much needed conversation about the story. Like I mentioned in the beginning, this film made me angry the first time I saw it last night. But before I explain why, I will say two things. Okay. Number one, this film and the reviews I have watched about it reminded me of why I became a film critic. When I started this YouTube channel, my goal was to use this channel as an online home. And part of Nightglow's mission is to tell stories that have been forgotten. And, even though that was the mission, over time I decided to post reviews. And the channel started growing because of that. So it was a sign to me that I had something to share. But to be honest, film criticism in this information age requires diversity, diverse critics, diverse points of view. So I think you are missing a different perspective on films and filmmaking if all you watch are critics who are white or male or both. It is unfair to have these movie reviews in which the main focus is to answer the question, was it worth sitting in a theater for 3.5 hours? And what and that's what I'm seeing here. It is also not enough to answer the question if this film is Oscar worthy. Scorsese made it clear in interviews during these press conferences that he cared deeply about this story. Not to mention, when he got the Oscar for The Departed, at that point in his career, the Academy owed him an Oscar. Some people thought there were a few films he did with De Niro in which he deserved an Oscar. I thought he deserved one for Gangs of New York. So when he made The Departed, the first thing I said after the first viewing was, if he doesn't get this, we have a problem because it is long overdue. So I don't think Scorsese cares about getting another Oscar at this point in his life. He might get nominated, but someone might win it. If they give it to him, I'm sure he'll take it. I'm sure he'll go to the ceremony, but I don't think it matters to him really. Then you have De Niro. I think he has two Oscars. And then DiCaprio, well, he was nominated 6 times, before getting one for The Revenant. And what stuck for a lot of people was the bear scene, where his character had to survive in the body of a bear. Remember that? Okay, so the second thing I want to mention is thank you to David Gran for writing the book. Thank you to Scorsese for making the film. And I want to make it clear I am not mad at all white people. Some white people are descendants from white abolitionists. Some are descendant from black people who passed as white. But the reason why this film made me angry after the first showing, this is another true story. The story of Molly and Ernest is a true story, but this is another true story of white folks in this country stealing from someone else. To this day, and I see comments on social media, a lot of white people don't want to face reality that many of them to this day have reaped the financial benefits of white thieves in American history, which created white privilege. The fact that Native Americans, Native American ethnicity, and the portrayal of Native Americans in the media that have been viewed in a negative light contributed to the unequal distribution of wealth in this country. And some people are going to say, well, some tribes make money with casinos. But to this day, many Native American nations are living in poverty and they don't have equal access to health care and college education, which according to the data leads to economic mobility. Slavery and the stigmatization of black skin color contributed to the unequal distribution of wealth in this country. White folks burned down Wall Street in Oklahoma. Then you have Bruce's Beach in Southern California. It was owned by a black couple, but it was stolen from them using eminent domain back in 1924. And it wasn't until last year that the descendants got it back. They got back Bruce Beach last year. Right here in New York City, we got stories. There are 3 stories that I'm thinking about right now. You have a story about San Juan Hill in Manhattan, another story about Seneca Village in Manhattan as well, and the third story about the African burial ground down the block from City Hall and Wall Street. A great film like Killers of the Flower Moon encourages conversations that we need to have. So it is amazing to me to see these film critics not talk about the story. Scorsese said it in interviews. This story is about greed and betrayal. And if you look at American history from one lens, you see a country built by white people being greedy, gaslighting, manipulative thieves, like De Niro's character. And it seems to me that many white folks don't want to face reality and they want to continue to live in La La Land. They don't want to acknowledge that white privilege is not an opinion, but a fact backed by numerical data. Earlier this year, there was information released about the wealth gap and what is it going to take to close that wealth gap. According to reports, the difference between the wealth of middle black households and middle white households is 164,000. How did they come up with that number? The average black household has $24,000 in savings, investments, and home equity combined. Average household. Whereas the average white household has 189,000 in savings, investments, and home equity. That's where the number comes from, that $164,000. So even though I am not Native American, I am not a member of the Osage, you can understand why watching this movie the first time made me angry. Okay, the government forced them out of their ancestral lands to Oklahoma. And when the useless land becomes valuable because they find oil deposits by accident, that's when you change course and go after them? Come on. And again, I don't have a grudge against white folks because in the past, those that have spoken up have paid the price. To this day, historians can't not make up their minds as to whether or not John Brown was a freedom fighter or a domestic terrorist. And I am going to end this review by reminding you of the story of Marlon Brando winning the Oscar for The Godfather. Okay, instead of showing up, he sent a Native American woman named Sacheen Littlefeather as an act of protest against the unfair treatment of Native American and the unfair depiction of them on film and TV. Brando is remembered for being both an actor and an activist who fought for the fair treatment of Native Americans and Black Americans. And story has it now that John Wayne, who was at the awards ceremony that night, got so angry he wanted to find Littlefeather so that he can do her harm physically, physical harm. Brando got booed that night, and many people were upset about it for decades. Okay, when I see a film like this, I think Brando would approve of it, and I think he would see this film as a move in the right direction. So that is all for today, my friends. Thank you very much for watching this long review, and I will see you next time with another movie review. Take care and continue to support cinema and keep the movie-going culture alive.